Hi, I'm Tyler, and this is the Fox Valley Film Critics. In this episode of the show, we're going to be discussing the next in the lineup of the AFI's Top 100 American Films, Duck Soup, as well as the final film in the 20th Century Fox X-Men saga, Dark Phoenix. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome to the show, brought to you by Groupthink Productions and FVTV. Joining us once again for what'll probably be the last time in a while is Justin.
Yes, I'm glad to be here. I am moving to Tennessee, so this is the final in-person appearance.
Oh, well, unless you happen to be in town again.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
this is his final canon appearance, although he's still alive.
yeah.
And it just so happens to be episode 60, so that's relevant in some way.
Yeah, it should be, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's departing on an even number.
It's a good number. It's a good number.
It almost sounds important. So, have you seen Duck Soup prior to tonight?
I know. I am sure that when I was a small child, I saw glimpses of Marx Brothers films when my dad would watch them. But no, I had never actually seen an entire Marx Brothers film until you asked me to do this. Yeah, which to my shame.
Same here, but
Oh, there you go. Okay.
but I must say this might be the wittiest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, it started. And I was a little worried because I feel like a lot of times with old comedies, sometimes they can feel dated or just. I can, in theory, understand why people laughed at them in the 30s, but not currently. But yeah, I was surprisingly laughing quite a bit.
I mean, every single line out of Groucho Marx's mouth was a turn of phrase that is more clever than anything I've heard in a week.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I can't even begin to describe just how how great that is.
Oh, it was relentless. It's relentless, which I feel like when it begins, you feel like there will be some sort of plot or some sort of
Not really
story, but quickly you realize that it's really nothing.
More or less.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, and I feel like there's so many things we could quote, but then I don't feel like we could.
I can't even remember a single one. They're all just in this amazing hodgepodge in my brain.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Pick a card. Now I only have 51.
Well, even thinking about, I feel like this. I feel like the last 20 minutes was just insane, in the sense of, I don't know. Sometimes the jokes seemed a little dated or old, but that scene where they call for help and then it just shows clips of like animals and people running and elephants going through the river. I mean, I woke my wife up because I was laughing so hard. And that scene, that felt so modern to me, or just so absurdist and like I don't know.
Yeah, there's the absurdist streak in this film is insane. I mean, I guess for context, it's I guess some sort of political commentary about 1930s like political tyrants or something to that end.
Yeah,
but
I was reading, and Groucho Marx would say often that they were just four Jews trying to make people laugh, but there wasn't much. They didn't put much thought into the political commentary of it. But supposedly Mussolini didn't like the film, and so they took great pleasure in that.
That is acceptable.
Yeah, and it almost feels. I mean, this came out during the Great Depression, and so I was reading. Supposedly, there's a rumor that it was it failed at the box office, but it did make fairly enough money. But there's a lot of people that didn't like it because it was approaching such dire times with such flippancy. I don't know. I appreciate that though.
I will say for the first 40 minutes, I found Groucho to be somewhat unsympathetic as a human being. Like, or he's kind of unempathetic because he's just a monster. But
Oh yeah,
like,
no, he's
like
terrible.
it's like a real. If he were a real human being, he would just be the worst person.
Yeah.
I mean, part of the joke of the film, obviously, is that everyone is playing the entire situation completely straight except for the Marx Brothers.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
you have this country called Fredonia, apparently some sort of Eastern Bloc nation that's being taken over by some sort of arrangement wherein they need a new leader in order to pay off their debts, and they pick Groucho Marx.
Who is before we see him is considered like the politician of the people, right? He's the preeminent diplomat politician in this country. Who knows? Oh man!
And he oversleeps his ceremony because he's going to be super punctual. He'll be here on time at 10 o'clock exactly, and the whole Fredonia court begins chanting the national anthem and holding the door open. And he's like, "Where is he?"
What?
And then you see him in a bed upstairs, and he's like, "Oh, I overslept."
But still, at that point, you still see him as like, oh, like you're still expecting someone who's normal, or like. But then, the second he starts talking, you're like, oh no, you definitely have a feel of what this movie is and what it isn't. I felt like what's the name of the nation that wants to take over?
I don't remember exactly, but
It's like Slovenia.
yeah,
I don't know.
It's kind of on the nose.
Yeah. But they send 2 spies to infiltrate his administration by being peanut vendors outside of the House of Congress or something. I don't know.
And he immediately invites them in.
and makes him the Minister of War. Which that gag where there's a rival lemonade vendor, all of those were perfect. I felt like that was just hilarious to me. In a sense of, a lot of times the other people, the straight actors in this movie, in the sense of the Marx Brothers are playing the buffoons and they're playing the straight men. The man who is the lemonade vendor, I felt like was the best, in the sense of you can just tell pretty immediately he realizes they're insane, and he treats them as such. Whereas the other people don't really. The entire movie, which I find hilarious.
Yeah, just that one guy, the one guy on the
yeah.
street, and recognizes that the Marx Brothers are insane. And somehow the entire court of Fredonia is just they have to keep appearances up.
Yeah. Is that the first? So there's that famous gag where one of the other brothers dresses up as Groucho, and he breaks the mirror, and then they're pretending to. Is that the first? Is that the first instance of that in? Because I feel like that's done all the time, everywhere. Yeah.
I mean, I imagine that the camera guy just gave us the thumbs up. So yeah, I mean, I would imagine that I noticed, I was thinking about watching this, like how much this is just like pre-Looney Tunes. Like every single gag in this, I got as a child watching Looney Tunes. I'm like, oh man, the more you watch old movies, you realize just how much Looney Tunes ripped the heck off.
Oh man, everything. Well, even thinking later than that, even like Dr. Strangelove, like that. I mean, that is this in a sense of just in a more modern context, but.
Dr. Strangelove has a semi-coherent plot.
Well, true.
This movie just degenerates. Like, it starts out pretty simple, and then it's like, okay, we're appointing Groucho Marx the head of Fredonia, and then it starts turning into, then everything's basically okay right up until the neighboring country declares war, at which point it just turns into a free-for-all, and all strategy and everything flies out the window, and they go to war.
And I do love how there's a lot of talk of like, how can we stop this war? But no one does anything, because the war starts because Groucho insults the like ambassador from this country. But in a sense of, I know they weren't maybe absolutely trying to make a political commentary, but in the sense of like the war just started because someone offended someone, and then.
I mean, that's very post-World War I attitude, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Well, even thinking about I mean, it's a quick movie. I mean, it's like an hour.
Yeah, hour 10 minutes. It's in and out.
Yeah, which I feel like but there's no stop to the jokes. Like in the sense of there's no pretending that it isn't just a series of jokes and funny scenes.
Doesn't overstay its welcome.
No,
though, so.
no. Trying to think. Yeah. Even I don't know. Yeah, the first 10 minutes I don't think I laughed. I think I was just slightly confused as far as
Yeah, before Groucho shows up, it's played remarkably straight and it's
Yeah.
kind of boring.
But even after he shows up, it's just him talking. I felt like I really started laughing when they're all when they all come together.
To me, it really clicked when Groucho begins singing his first musical number. Did we mention there are musical numbers? This is a musical, sort of. There's like maybe 4 songs in the whole movie, but
they are so odd. They're so, oh my goodness.
Groucho just begins singing this song about how he's going to begin imposing horrifically tyrannical rules over the entire country.
Well, and nobody seem to enjoy it in a sense, or I don't know.
Maybe that's the satire.
Oh man. Well, and it's that one, or it's the beginning one, before he comes along, where they sing him in. It's like that lady starts singing, and then it's like the national anthem after that. It's very weird and boring.
The non-Groucho characters are dull.
Yeah.
The Queen is okay because she at least drives the story somewhat, but
because she is is loving that he's flirting with her.
I guess. I mean,
if you call it flirting.
When she's just interacting with the characters, it's boring though.
Oh yeah. I mean, and that last musical number when they're trying the spy for his crimes. Then that was wonderful.
It just kind of ends. It doesn't really end at a logical point. It just ends with the war is over, yay!
Well, and the war was over because even though they were surrounded and almost dead, the guy stuck his head through the door, and then they boarded it up, and then upon his word, even though everyone else is destroyed, the war's over because, oh man.
I will say, apparently, I did learn what the name Duck Soup meant. Apparently, it means like a gullible person. It's an older phrase. So I was like, is there going to be actual duck soup in this movie called Duck Soup?
There was ducks in the pot in the beginning.
Well, yeah, but that was the title. It was a joke. But I guess the point is just that it's about gullible people. So early 20th century turns of phrase aren't relevant to me, darn it.
Oh man, yeah, I kind of forgot the title of the movie until you said it. I mean, in a sense of there's no relation to anything that happens.
Well, it's about gullible people, I guess.
Gullible people, yeah.
Especially the spies, who I keep forgetting in the movie are actually spies because they don't really do any spying. But
well, it's just a Three Stooges act,
exactly.
Where every human they come in contact with, they just destroy them completely emotionally and with all of their dignity. Oh man!
At the very least, they cut off all of their feathers.
Cut off all their feathers and light their clothes on fire, and that scene where he cuts his cigar like 2 or 3 times. Oh man! Oh, and there's almost a beauty. I mean, I was thinking about John Wick recently in the sense of all the action is so beautiful, and it's almost just like a ballet. And this is almost a ballet of just chaos, where it's. I mean. They had to choreograph all of that stuff. So, oh man, impeccable.
Oh man. That's all the time we have for this segment. Join us for the following segment. We'll be talking about Dark Phoenix. Stay tuned. Welcome back. So, fun fact, we like to shoot these episodes by the fireplace. And we lit a fire, and it burned out because
I was late.
It burned too quickly. So, unfortunately, it served to be perfect metaphor for Dark Phoenix, something that burnt out long before its time.
Yeah.
I stole your joke. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. But what can we say? I always like to start things with a positive note, talking about anything in life. Michael Fassbender's great.
He refuses to be
Yeah.
bad in anything.
No.
He might have been bad in Assassin's Creed, but that movie was irreparable. But
Yeah. There is a scene where Jean Grey and him are trying to control the same object, and I mean, he should get an Oscar for just how intensely his whole body just. I mean, oh my goodness! I was like, yeah, that's why I watch these movies.
this is a hammy movie. This is a very hammy movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I described it when I reviewed it as half the scenes in this movie feel like outtakes. Like
Yes.
they feel like someone just picked random takes where the actors were just expressing emotion, and they were all on their off days. They weren't doing none of it was great.
No.
They were just acting into the camera. But
This is the 12th movie
something
in
like
20th
that.
century and.
Well, if you want to count the official chronology, this is X-Men 7.
True.
If you don't count Deadpool and 3 Wolverine
Logan,
movies.
Yeah. I mean, this movie was supposed to come out last year, and didn't.
That's
And
the first
it was supposed
warning.
to come out beginning of this year, and didn't.
Got bumped because James Cameron didn't want competition for Battle Angel. So
Yeah. Well.
I mean, I've said in my last episode of the show, I said this is one of the worst blockbuster years I've seen in a long time.
Oh yeah.
Like, I mean, Endgame is pretty
bad.
okay. Battle Angel's okay. Us is really good, but it's an art house, grindhouse horror movie.
Mm-hmm. And I mean,
Every major studio movie is sucked.
yeah.
I mean, I know some people like Godzilla, and I'm fine with people liking Godzilla, but
And thinking about this movie, I mean, Apocalypse performed decently financially, but it did not perform well with audiences or critics.
no.
And so you feel like in Dark Phoenix, they're trying to correct this by making it a smaller story, if it's even the story, and then making it. But it's not, in the sense of.
This is a Batman and Robin level failure.
Yeah, it's bad. So this is the second time they're trying to do the Phoenix. I mean, this beautiful long comic arc, scrunching it to 2 minutes, or 2 hours.
Yeah.
They try to do this with The Last Stand while also doing The Mutant Cure, and that. Thinking back on those movies, I mean, The Last Stand is better than.
You've made The
this.
Last Stand considerably more interesting. So congratulations.
No, yeah. And the good things within that movie are better. Well, not better, but there's just more little good things in that than in this.
That movie handles Mystique's end better than this one does.
Oh. I mean, I love Jennifer Lawrence. Don't get me wrong.
She's been bored
She
in that
was
role.
so bored.
She's been bored for the last 3 movies. But
Oh, my.
I don't think I've ever seen, like, she's like, I'm so done with this. I am beyond done.
I mean, are we going to talk spoilers?
Yeah. Don't watch this.
Well, true.
Don't
True.
reward bad behavior.
True. So Mystique is impaled because Jean Grey is freaking out. I felt 0 things. And the beginning of this movie, so the mutants are now like superheroes,
Which
legitimately.
conceptually, I like that idea.
Yes.
That's a great setup for like the final X-Men movie.
And I think it's hilarious that like the president just like calls Xavier and he's like, "Oh yes, hello, Mr. President."
Save the space shuttle.
Yes, it's like so dumb. But I was on board at that point. And I was even on board. Jean Grey gets the thing, and it's like, okay, like she has the Phoenix Force. We know this. But immediately she starts freaking out, and it's like, I can't control it. But like, you haven't even seen her do anything yet. And then you're supposed to believe that like she's like drawn between Cyclops and Xavier and like Raven. But Xavier's a huge tool, which like maybe like Patrick Stewart's Xavier was a little like.
Well, the whole point of this movie is supposed to be like it's about the idea of how someone a group that handles like their image, like how a group how do you build a positive image for yourself when there's people in your movement that can make it look bad. Which is there's kernels of ideas in this,
which is always what Xavier and Magneto are debating. And X-Men movies, I feel like they resonate with a lot of people because the story is so. I mean, like there's these outcast people, and it's it's a classic story. In this, there is none of that in the sense of Jean Grey is, freaking out, but you don't feel like Raven cares about. I mean, Jennifer Lawrence is so boring, and so you can tell when she turns into a human again. It's like, oh, she didn't want to wear. She didn't want to wear the makeup.
And I don't particularly like Sophie Turner as Jean Grey.
No,
she's fine in Game of Thrones, but in this, she's so uncompelling as a lead. Like I hate to say that because she's a good actress. She's fine in other stuff, but as Jean Grey, she's so straight-laced the entire time. There's no real change of personality between her normal self and when she's being possessed by a space demon.
No, and so she's possessed by this space demon, but then there's also these other space aliens, which I get.
Which apparently at one point were going to be the Skrulls. Before those went back to Marvel.
Yeah.
So.
And then there's these also. I mean, I love Jessica Chastain, but she's so. And I get that she's supposed to be like Zod level. Just like deadpan in this, and just like emotionless, but it's boring. She's supposed to be like
the lady from Zero Dark 30 and made her boring. Darn it!
Well, yeah. And Jean Grey, when she's exiled because she kills. Well, she's not exiled. She kills Raven, and she's like, oh, what should I do? I should go hang out with Magneto.
I kind of like him just running this mutant commune in like a faraway island.
It was awesome. But then they give it to us for 2 seconds, and then you think that he could provide there could be some good meaty dialogue scenes between him and Jean Grey, and then immediately the military arrives, and then immediately it's all over. Then immediately it's like, oh, Magneto's sole purpose now is to murder
Sophie
Turner. It's like, I guess, I don't.
I guess their thought is, well, Magneto has to be wrong about something, otherwise there's no Magneto.
I don't know. And then, so the movie shifts then from Xavier trying to save her, these aliens trying to use her, and Magneto trying to murder her, along with Beast, who I feel like Nicholas Hoult also, there could have been something interesting there, maybe. He's also bored out of his mind.
He was better in Tolkien, and Tolkien was boring.
You saw that?
Yeah.
Oh no.
It was a great watching young men hang out and drink in a parlor movie.
Yeah.
It wasn't a good J.R.R. Tolkien movie, but I would say I liked Tolkien more than Dark Phoenix.
Wow.
At least Nicholas Hoult cared about the role.
Yeah. Oh. And the action in this is dumb.
Well, until the train scene, which is okay.
Oh, yeah. I enjoyed that. Well, mainly you can see, anytime, you insert just mowing down people, it's fun, I guess.
Well, at least then it's actually choreographed, and the camera, starts moving around, and you can tell it was shot by a competent filmmaker, unlike the rest of it. But apparently that was all reshoots, so it feels completely different.
Oh, yeah. Well, in the first big action set piece is the X-Men are trying to cross the road to get into a building, and it takes them 10 minutes to move. And so Magneto gets this subway out of the ground for what reason?
To break into the building. But I thought he was gonna use it like a weapon or something, but
he uses the hand railings. I don't.
It's a trailer shot. It looks cool in the trailer.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, it's very. They did that in James Bond, and they did it in. I don't know.
It was cool in Bond.
There's no point to it. I don't know. And then it ends. How does it end? I forgot.
The Magneto and Xavier end up playing chess again.
Play,
Well, no, I guess the real ending is Xavier retires from the school,
and it's the Jean Grey.
yeah, Beast
school.
becomes the head of the school for some reason. This is like, why would you, what is the point of that?
Also, so angry. So like the good thing, I loved First Class. I thought it was great.
Yeah,
Days of Future
it's
Past
great.
Is good, and the Quicksilver scenes in both of those are beautiful action scenes. And we think we're gonna get one, right? Like she explodes the house and he's jumping on the side of the house, and then he just gets thrown and is knocked out, and then isn't in any of the rest of the movie. And then at the end, he's like, "I'm gonna go joke with the kids," and it's like, what?
You know, we've never even gotten the scene in these movies where he gets to have a final meeting with his father, which I thought was going to be the finale of Apocalypse, because like that's kind of what they seemed like they were building up to in that movie. But like Quicksilver gets nothing.
No, which is a shame. Well,
why didn't they throw him into a car? I would have actually felt some.
Yeah. Oh man.
Let's impale Quicksilver. At least then I would have felt emotions.
Yeah. Just murder Quicksilver. He gets murdered in a. Yeah, that would have been. Yeah, I don't know. And
Apocalypse couldn't kill him.
All in all, this movie had the pieces to be a better adaptation of this story than The Last Stand. But all of it is just muddled in. I don't know what they were trying to do.
The weirdest part to me is just that we're getting a sequel to a movie from 2000 in 2019. Like this feels like a movie like from the 2000s era of superhero movies when they were embarrassed to make superhero movies. Yes. There's no color. There's no texture to the action scenes. It's low budget. It's everyone's bored. No one's taking it seriously. The studio didn't take it seriously, other than the fact that they reshot it twice.
Well, I mean, they had to get their money and show it somehow.
This is the same studio that made Logan.
Yeah.
They made like the best X-Men movie ever 2 years ago, and then they turn around and make this.
Well, and I mean, you get the sense that Logan was made because Hugh Jackman was like, "We're gonna do this, and we're gonna do it this one way, and you're not gonna."
But that movie was like smaller scale than this.
Yeah.
They used less resources making a movie where a guy takes a cross-country trip than this.
Yeah. Which is crazy. Oh, man.
That's all the time we have for this. And then join us for the final segment where we'll be getting the movie recommendation of the week. Stay tuned.
Great. Well, my movie recommendation is a documentary that came out on like BBC TV, I think a year or two ago, called Tea with the Dames. It's just Judi Dench, Maggie Smith, Joan Ashcroft, I think, and then Eileen Atkins, but I'm probably saying that name wrong. And I mean, they're all pushing 70. Or some of them even older than that now. And supposedly every year they get together and just kind of talk and laugh and drink tea. And somehow someone found it and was like, "Oh, we should film this." And so it's just them talking about their careers and making fun of each other and laughing at how old they are and like all the dumb stuff they would do. And like all of the creepy dudes that would hit on them, and then like all the people they had relationships with. And it's this, I mean, it's pretty quick. It's a little over an hour. But I just had the greatest time watching it in a sense of it's, I don't know. On one hand, they're talking about old movies. And so you get these behind the scene looks on these plays and these movies that are fun to see. But then also, I don't know. I think there's a lot of, I don't know, in this era of kind of Me Too and a lot of stuff, I don't know, it was cool to just see, I don't know, older women reminiscing and talking about stories. It just reminded me of like my grandparents when they would get together at Thanksgiving after all the kids had
This sounds like the most wholesome, cozy thing.
It's great. No, yeah. Grab a beer or tea and, sit in bed and chuckle. But no, I don't know. I feel like I've seen a lot of like heavy movies as of late, or just like tedious things. And so I don't know, if you need a break from bad blockbusters or I don't know, extremely violent action movies, that's
I had the same thought about Tolkien when I saw it, but at least like tangentially. Well, you're technically you're watching old men in that movie drink beer and have fun.
Oh yeah.
Except they were young at the time, so they're young chums.
Oh yeah.
It's basically the same movie, but with.
It's kind of like the Trip, but with old women, and there's no like. It's not like a gimmick. But it is funny in that they keep trying to one up each other and stuff. Yeah. No.
That sounds like a great one.
Tea with the dames.
Well, that's all the time we have for this episode of the show. If you want to find past recordings of the show, you can do so at the Grifting Productions YouTube page. You can follow me on Twitter at @AndySocialCritic. That's critic without the C at the end of it. Blah. And you can find my written reviews at Geeks Under Grace and Legal Insurrection. I'm Tyler with the Fox Valley Film Critics. Have a wonderful day, and thank you so much for coming on one more time.
Oh, yeah.